February 18, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. Kind of had a spike up, and then it had a long, pretty much the whole day consolidation. Then about the last 2 hours, it broke out and kind of recovered back into this big range that I thought we were in, but it didn't really yield very many setups. And it kind of had a recovery rally at the end. This is coming in from a 3-day weekend because this is Monday trading. Technically, the markets were open for futures trading, but this isn't worth trading. This is just, yeah, I didn't even bother logging on to look at this. And this is how I drew up the charts today. There weren't very many setups. Actually, I didn't really see any good setups at all. I mean, there was maybe one over here that I marked as a possible trade, but I didn't think it was worth taking, especially when I waited through all this. I didn't really, it wasn't really, it just didn't feel quite worth the risk reward. And then these black arrows were kind of hunches that I had, but I didn't really feel strong enough to jump in the trade. And after they work, of course, you can't have FOMO, but then you do have a little bit of FOMO after the trade plays out. I'm going to go through the charts right now. It should be pretty quick because I didn't really mark that many trades. It was kind of a low volume day, and prices were for sure meandering. Let's go ahead and just kind of take another look. Interesting thing was, I think the market made all-time highs today, or at least broke the all-time highs just barely. Regular trading hours, I guess you could say it was about 61.45 all the way down to about 61, let's say 61.18. So 61.45, 61.18 is about 27 points of range. But even in that, it didn't span the entire range. Most of the time, it stayed kind of within this blue range of 61.43. And I think you can safely say about 61.28. So this is really tight trading. This is about, maybe only about 15 points. And within it, the ATR was kind of tight and small. So there wasn't that much happening. Also, there was no economic data that came out according to the Forex Factory. So nothing to really jostle the market. So it's just kind of a slow, meandering day. Ended up taking no trades. So on the open, it kind of flushes down. And initially, this looks like it's going to be the trading range from here to here, because this is what you see, or this is what I saw. And it starts selling off. It comes down on this orange down channel, breaks, tests the low. So I'm just kind of sitting on my hands waiting for a setup. Technically, so there's a new high, first entry long, second entry long. Not really a second entry long here, but I did kind of a count reset here. You do have a first entry long pullback, second entry long. If second entry long is a bad signal bar, it really only has a double bottom at this point. So there's no real, I guess, no real valid reason for me to take a trade there. Pushes up, you have first entry short, second entry short, bad signal bar, far from the EMA, no real setup there. You could argue there's a potential triple test here, but it's not very clean. Kind of consolidates here. So another first entry short, second entry short, second entry short, bad signal bar. Didn't quite touch the EMA. This yellow down channel I didn't have initially. I had other channels going in its place because I was initially trying to get these guys to work. That's something like this. And it kind of kept evolving. The yellow is what it ultimately turned out to be. So I didn't really have this as first entry short, second entry short. I didn't really have this as a key entry point yet. Plus it's a bullish signal bar. Didn't touch the EMA, just leave it alone. You do have a first entry long pullback, second entry long. You could say it's a second entry long failure, but I'm not thinking failure just yet here because I might be in a range. There is just enough room to scalp out, but it just feels like not worth the risk. Prices move down, kind of consolidates, hits a double bottom, pushes up. You have a first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long is above the EMA. I'm not a big fan of this. Confirms a second entry short here. First entry short, second entry short. Looking for a lower high now. You don't really get a lower high and the bottom just kind of drops out. So then this setup, or I thought might have been a potential setup entry here, is just abandoned. Prices move up. So first entry short, second entry short, second entry short confirmed here. It doesn't really, it closes, the trigger bar closes too bullish. So I'm not looking for a short to go down here. I was thinking maybe it's on this orange up channel. Certainly not thinking a first entry short, second entry short failure yet, because it's below the EMA. I need a definitive push above EMA and ideally a higher low confirmation. So it starts pushing above, but then you don't really get a higher low, and it just kind of tops around sideways. And I create a new high here, first entry long, second entry long. You might have a second entry long here, except again, it's just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. There's just noise. I didn't really have a good bounce off of this confirmed bottom, and the EMA is flattening out. I don't really even have a range. It's a break of this green down channel, test the low, but that's just not good enough of a reason on this kind of ambiguous sideways price action. It's first entry long, second entry long, pulls up, you have a new low, first entry short, second entry short. So I'll admit, I was thinking in real time, this might actually push down for a confirmed second entry short. But again, the EMA is just kind of flat. I wasn't really sure. I marked it as an arrow because when it confirmed, I did have FOMO for sure. But to be honest, I don't know that I would have been able to enter on this trade because I would have likely put it at the lows of here. Depending on how fast I dropped in my order, because I would see this and I think, okay, I want to put in a trade. Most likely the candle is opened. I drop in my order. I don't know necessarily that I would have gotten the fill. Then prices continue moving. There's a new low, first entry short, second entry short, bad signal bar to go short on, but above the EMA, kind of pushes back up. Break of this orange up channel, test the new high. Up channel might have been played out. I did have this at one time thinking, is this maybe at the top of a developing range? So this could be the top, and somewhere down here, potentially the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and put those there for now. I later deleted it just to clear up. Didn't mean to do that. Later cleared it up just to make things less busy. So it pushes down. There's a new low here, localized. First entry short, second entry short, not the right signal bar. Break of the orange up channel, pushes down. There's no real setup here. Price is just moving sideways. It hits this consolidation trading range here, but there's no clean second entries that I could, see that were worth taking, or even just see. It has a fail breakout out here, and it pushes down. So it pushes down, and right now, if you look to the left, there might be, so this is where I kind of abandoned this, and I thought, okay, this could be potentially the top of a trading range. But there was no real setup here to try to take a trade. You have a new high, say first entry long, that's all you get. Bounces, you have a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short. Just this doesn't look right. So first entry long pullback, second entry long, maybe a second entry long failure, but I can make an argument for second entry long failure and a second entry short, but I could also see it chopping sideways. So I don't want to get caught in this because there's no clear definitive move, no clear trading range, which is up. So if I did say here, decide that, okay, I'm going to go short, first entry short, second entry short, and it's a visual first entry long, second entry long failure, I would have probably tried to enter right below this guy. I would have gotten filled, and this thing would have stopped me out. Even then, I wouldn't have done that, and I didn't, just because this just doesn't look right. It's a little ambiguous. Prices then move up, pushes to the high, starts flushing down, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here. So it's a first entry long. You actually, by the count, have a first entry long here, second entry long, but this looks like it's just one big move. So it's a very definitive visual first entry long, very clear definitive second entry long. Is there a second entry long here? Visual, yes. But as I said, I wasn't quite feeling that this is clear enough for me. But I will mark it as a second entry long. It is a possible trade if you're a little more aggressive because you do have enough room to get to the high. So I didn't mark it before, but I guess it could be in hindsight. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Dropping too many of these labels down. And prices continue moving. So here, let's see, it would have been enough for a 1-point scalp. Break of this orange down channel, test the low, consolidates. Now I'm thinking, okay, there could be another support area here. And this is just confusing because initially I thought there's a support here, maybe resistance here, maybe resistance here, smaller consolidation here, maybe there's a bounce here. So it's just very busy and very sideways, but with no consistent highs and no consistent support, no consistent resistance. So just making me extra cautious. The prices move up. First entry short, second entry short. Not a good signal bar above the EMA. Pushes up, breaks, and it starts moving down. You have a first entry long, pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but you're not thinking of going long. Then you have a confirmed second entry long, first entry long, second entry long. I'm not thinking of a failed second entry long just yet because I'm thinking, as I said, this could be a possible support of some kind of range. So is this a failed breakout? I'm not sure. In this case, looked like at least locally it's a failed breakout. So this trade would have worked, but I'm not ready to take a trade here. I'm doubting whether this is going to continue upwards into a failed breakout because I'm not really sure. And then it ends up working, but it's too late. So too late to dwell on it. Just sit back, which is down. New high, first entry long, second entry long, bad signal bar, inside bar, nothing here. It's a new localized low here. It's a first entry short pullback. This is marked after the fact, but I tried to see if there was any way to have known this is going to go short. And I honestly can't say I would have known because this is just too neutral. But it followed through was really nice. Flushes down. There was something released. I'm not sure what happened, but this happened in a span of about 2 minutes and just flushed down. I didn't see any news to indicate why this happened. First entry short, second entry short, bad signal bar to go short on. This is where I thought is kind of another, I just marked it as a second entry long here. It's a new high, localized. First entry long pullback, second entry long. The only thing going for this is a double bottom, but you'd be picking the lows. The only other thing going for it is kind of an 8-tick candle, but still not good enough in my opinion. I need to see more price action. Ideally, you get a similar setup further down, creating a triple test and second entry long. Then I would take it. So I'm watching actually for a higher low, and you don't really get a higher low. You just kind of it just kind of moves up and comes back down. So you can't really say that these are higher lows because the character and context of the trade has passed. Hits this consolidation area, pushes up. Technically, it's a new localized low, first entry short. You have a second entry short here, but you can see a visual break of this orange, one attempt up, two attempts up. Now it's near a new localized high. 4-touch confirmation. I'm not really sure what to make of it. It's a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. I marked this as a second entry long, maybe a possible trade. It's a bounce off the EMA, potential triple test, but it's not very clean. It is a really small risk because it's only 6 ticks, and it's a possible bottom of the range. But if you look at the timestamp, this is at 12:12 Pacific Standard, so there's only about 48 minutes left. And I sat through all this. I didn't really see a good trade. This one wasn't convincing enough to be good enough for me to jump on, considering the time of day, what it looks like, and prices were just kind of meandering. So altogether, if you took it, it's aggressive for sure, because you could say it's moving back to the highs. But for me, I just felt like I already sat through enough, didn't take a trade, just kind of call the day a no trade day and don't risk it. Ends up it probably, let's see, 61.3275. So yes, it would have been just enough for 5-point scalp. Hard to say whether you would have survived though. Not 5.5 tick scalp. So this is definitely aggressive. It's a consolidation range. I saw 2 legs down. I wanted so badly for this candle to be better. Ideally closer to the EMA. Even though the EMA is flattening, I would have given me just a little more confidence. But this is also at 12:44. It's the end of the day. There's only 15 minutes left. I do not want to take this trade just because if I take a loss, I'd be beating myself up for being so disciplined on kind of a slow, uneventful day to suddenly take a loss. So I wanted so badly for this to be a better signal bar. In this case, if I did take it, it looks like I would have gotten filled and debatable whether I would have gotten out, but I would not have gotten stopped out because my stop would have been below these 3 and these 3 bars. So one by one tick, I would have had to sweat it out. And then one of these guys would have given me the profit. Then prices kind of move, and this is the last 10 minutes of the day, moves into the close. So another kind of slow day. I know on Friday it was also kind of a slow day, no trades, but today it was just kind of a part 2 of nothing really happening, no real setups that I particularly liked. So hopefully that was helpful.